Yo, what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Pastor Ron, man, and welcome to Game Day Gospel. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for your time on this conference championship Monday. We got a lot to chop up, man. But don't forget to share this. Don't forget to follow this podcast. Don't forget to leave comments. It helps me immensely. So I pray that everyone could help support and continue to support. It's free. A comment, a like, a follow, 5 stars, all that is free regardless of what platform you're listening to. So, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Lamar Jackson came up small in a big spot. I hate to say this, and it's not trying to discredit him or trying to say he's not a really good player. But we right now need to find out if Lamar Jackson is really an elite or top QB. We have to find out if Lamar Jackson is really that guy, because up until this year, he didn't have any playoff victories. Yesterday, he threw 20 for 37, 272, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He also ran the ball 8 times for 54 yards. And honestly, after watching the game, I'm surprised he threw for that much. I didn't think he had that many completions or that many passing yards. And this ultimately falls on his back. This loss is ultimately Lamar Jackson's fault. Yeah, we could talk about Zay Flowers and the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and the fumble, of course. Not saying those things didn't play a part, but you still had a chance to win. Where was Lamar Jackson before that? Where was Lamar Jackson in the first half? And, shout out to the Chiefs defense, but they shut him down. They made him do what they wanted him to do. And my knock has always been on Lamar Jackson was the following. If you're playing a team that takes away your lanes to run, that takes away the scrambling, that takes away the rushing yards, and they're very disciplined and however they do it, will you be able to win a game with your arm? And I don't think so. He's a very limited passer. Very limited passer. And that's why in the offseason folks want to chant racism or, classism or cultural wars as to why he didn't get paid. This is why he didn't get paid. If you put Joe Burrow in that game, they're winning the game. If you put Josh Allen in that same situation, yes, he lost last week, but in that same situation, 17-7 going into halftime, the Chiefs only scored 3. No, I'm sorry. The Chiefs didn't score any points in the second half. Will Josh Allen find a way to win the game? I would say yes. Will Dak Prescott try to be able to find a way to win a game? Maybe. So I ask, is Lamar Jackson levels with Dak Prescott? Great regular season numbers. You play lesser competition, but at the end of the day, you're not a game changer. And honestly, it's I'm playing off the term that Cam Newton used, like either you're a game manager or you're a game changer. And I think Lamar Jackson's a little bit in between. I think he can be a game changer, but he needs perfect conditions where he's able to run, able to scramble, and do all that in order for him to be prosperous. He's a really good QB, but he's also a limited quarterback. And when I used to say that he's not top 5, top 10 to me, this is what I meant. I meant that in games where they take away all your stuff and you can't run, they stack the box, they have a spy there, they contain. Can Lamar Jackson drop back 30, 40 times and win a game? And numbers show that he's not. He can't. He can't do it. So then we ask ourselves, where does he rank? Right? So you have MAHOMES, number 1. You have Joe Burrow, number 2. You have Josh Allen, number 3. You have, some people will say, gotta put CJ Stroud up there, but I'll put Justin Herbert. I think he's levels. He's nice. He's number 4. Then it's a potpourri. It depends on the week, because that next spot can go to Lamar Jackson, but you could also put CJ Stroud. After yesterday, do you trust Lamar Jackson or Brock Purdy? Because Brock Purdy had the same opportunity. He had to come back, and he came back. So I'm not saying that their levels or he's better, but you also have to look at resume. So after the top 4, Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow, right? Those top 4 are in a tier by themselves. Like, I like using tiers. And then next is a potpourri of players. It's the, though he's young, it's a Jordan Love, it's a Matthew Stafford, it's again a Brock Purdy, it is Kirk Cousins, it's I'm gonna put Jared Goff there. It's a Dak Prescott. Those guys are now in that. Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, those guys, Tua, those guys are now jumbled up with Lamar as a top player, as a top QB. He does have numbers, and people are going to throw in my face 2 MVPs, blah, 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 blah. It's all cool, and I will never take that away from him. But is he Steve Nash, or is he Steph Curry? Right? People say, Steve Nash got, they look back at Steve Nash's career, and with his 2 MVPs, they roll their eyes like he shouldn't have gotten it. He's not an all-time great, XYZ, but is that who Lamar Jackson is? Because this was their best chance to win, and he could not bring his team over the finish line. This is his chance to get into that conversation as tier 1. And he choked it away. I talk about moments. I talk about drives. I talk about games where people help define their legacy and bump them up different tiers and on the rankings. And he unfortunately has not been able to do it, with the Chiefs, again, scoring no points in the second half. So your defense showed up. Their offense was limited, right? And you having all of these weapons, because the argument for so long, Lamar Jackson was limited because he had no receivers. All your receivers were there, right? You had all that, and yet you are unable to come through big in a situation. So what do we say? What are we saying now? What are we saying right now about Lamar Jackson? Because unfortunately, this loss has to fall on his back. And now it can't be like, you can't look back and say, this offseason they're going to get all these receivers. Receivers were good. Now they're going to shore up this defense. The defense was good. It's just getting better. And it's not to say he's not a good QB. It's not to say that he's not uber talented. It's not to say he's a top QB, but he's not in the same breath with Josh Allen, with Joe Burrow. He's not in the same breath, in my mind, with Justin Herbert. I think Herbert's gonna have a big year with a better coach. His issue wasn't talent. His issue was coaching. So all these excuses that have been made for Lamar Jackson, there were no excuses this year. They were at home. All of that, but yet he came up small in those big situations. So I think tough loss, man. Tough loss for the Bills. Tough loss for the Ravens. They were very confident. And honestly, I thought the Chiefs were going to get blown out, because I sat there and I told my son, to ask me, like, Dad, what do you think is going to win? I said, son, I think it's going to be Baltimore by a blowout. I think the defense was going to carry them to a dub, because their defense is nice. Because we can't, though they played well against Miami, that was at home, cold weather. They played well against Buffalo. I think Josh Allen pretty much cost him the game. A couple of passes he could have hit. They could have lost that game. But then now this game, I think, the Ravens are too good. They're at home. They'll be prepared. There's no reason why we should even have this conversation about this game. It's gonna be a blowout. The only close game is gonna be the second game between the Lions and the 49ers. But KC came out early on. Mahomes was 11 for 11. He sat there and he was able to help out and establish a lead, and they closed the game. You feel bad. You feel bad for Zay Flowers, man. You see, we always tell people, bro, if you're gonna be out here taunting and being cocky about stuff, make sure you sit there and you do your thing. Because he all sitting there tossing and throwing balls and doing that and doing this, and then to have a fumble at the goal line, bro. You gotta be quiet, bro. You can't sit here and do all that, man. You gotta calm down because you're tripping, bro. So tough loss, man. Ravens just gonna have a long off season, a long 6-7 months to get ready to get back to this, because these opportunities are come few and far between. There's only the Patriots and the Chiefs are anomalies. Don't expect this to happen where you're constantly having these opportunities. You have to really, when you get a chance, especially because you know what's going to happen next year. They're going to retool. They're going to get some receivers. They're going to get. I think Kelsey might retire, bro. I think Kelsey's going to retire if they win a Super Bowl. Kelsey's going to retire with his brother. I think they're going to just keep doing podcasts, keep messing with Taylor Swift, and I think he's going to retire because he's lost a step. He's it's, if it wasn't for Mahomes and the way they, little nuances there, he wouldn't be as efficient as he is. He's playing with probably one of the best QBs of all time. So he I think he's going to get to a point now where he's going to be touring with Taylor Swift out there on albums and chilling. So maybe next year, if this happens and Andy Reid retires and there's a change, I think if Andy Reid retires, they're going to hire that guy, the bull that coached the Bears, Nagy. Yeah, and he was a disaster. So I think they may hire him and just to keep the continuity. I think that's going to be the leadership, and then we'll see. These bro, let's not take these for granted. Patrick Mahomes, though, I think I mentioned this last week on the podcast. I said, listen, if he wins this game, then he's officially on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. I can't say he's the greatest of all time, but I could definitely say he's an all-time great. If he ends his career right now, his career ends, regardless of what happens in 2 weeks, he's not better than Brady. I think he's better than Peyton Manning. I think right now the only question is he better than Joe Montana? And I have to say yes. I think he's right now the second best QB of all time. I think it's him. I think it's Brady, Mahomes, Montana, and Peyton Manning as best QBs of all time. I think those are the guys that are on the Mount Rushmore. And I wouldn't call him an all-time great. It's tough. Using a basketball analogy, and again, hear me out. I think LeBron is Tom Brady and Steph is Patrick Mahomes. I think LeBron is Brady because of longevity. Brady lost a bunch of Super Bowls as well. He didn't win every Super Bowl, but because of his longevity and what he's done and his impact on a game, I think he's LeBron. I think that's the the best analogy I would have because of his longevity and able to do it with different teams. Able to do it with in different generations, and also if you're honest, if you're his the talent around him was always minimal. The Patriots were not used to sitting here and spending money on talent. That's why they're stuck right now. They kept this quote-unquote Patriot way of just minimal talent and a great QB. And now the great QB is not there, then they're struggling. So Tom Brady to me is LeBron. The way these Jordan fans sit there and say, "Oh, 6 for 6." LeBron can't compare to Mike because he's 6 for 6. Shut up. And I always ask, give me another reason why LeBron is not better than Jordan. You can't. No matter. All that matters is 6 for 6. You play to win the game. Blah 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 blah. Okay. In every other category, LeBron is best Michael. So cut it out. Yeah. So I think that's his comp. LeBron is Brady. Brady's 7-3 in Super Bowls. I think LeBron is the same is the best person to compare to Tom Brady, and Mahomes is Steph, like a weird light-skinned freak of nature that's doing things and doing things that we have never seen before with so much hard work and natural talent. Like I think Mahomes is the face of the NFL, and Steph, honestly, if we're honest, Steph is the poster boy for the NBA. Steph does no wrong, right? He never gets blamed. It's never his fault. It's always because of people around him. Mahomes never gets any blame. It's because of his receivers. These guys are perfect in everyone's eyes, in the media's eyes. I think Mahomes, is Steph Curry, that freak of nature guy. But the difference between Steph Curry and Mahomes is Mahomes' postseason success. It's the fact that Mahomes led his teams to championships. The one knock we have with Steph and why Steph is not in tier 1 yet is because of the fact he won 4 titles and 1 Finals MVP, which means that in these finals, they were players who were better than him on his own team. So he didn't lead his team to Super Bowl, to NBA Finals. So that is a big difference between Steph and Mahomes. But I think Mahomes right now is number 2. And if he messes around and gets a couple more titles and continues what he's doing for a few more years, and especially if Andy Reid leaves and it's just him and what he's doing, and he gets all the credit for it. Man, especially if he leaves and Kelsey leaves when he goes back to the Super Bowl, bro, will be knocking at Tom Brady's door. As crazy as it sounds, and people were like, no one can be better than the GOAT, bro. Let me tell you something. If he messes around and does that, he'll be right at Tom Brady's door, try to go for the GOAT. Because if I'm honest, speaking of pure talent, let's forget Super Bowl wins. Let's forget resume. Let's forget all that other stuff, right? In terms of pure arm talent and leadership, I think Patrick Mahomes is the best QB I've ever seen in my life. Better than Peyton Manning, better than Joe Montana, better than Tom Brady. Pure talent and elevating, being a leader, elevating your team and doing the most with what you have. Arm talent and just reading defenses, adjusting and not taking sacks and making the right play. I'll take Patrick Mahomes over everybody. And this is not hyperbole. This is not clickbait. I think this talent, right? This talent-wise, he's the best QB I've ever seen in my life. He's the best QB I've ever seen in my life. Because the only reason why folks picked KC, the few that did, was because of Patrick Mahomes. He has the ability to kind of offset how the talent on their defense. if anybody could figure them out, it's Patrick Mahomes. And for the first half, he did 10 for 10. You know what I'm saying, on passes to start a game. It's unreal. 17 points in the first half, unreal. So I think, and again, let's not forget, his receivers didn't get any better. He still had Rice and MVS and Kelsey and all those guys who were dropping passes. Those guys were still there. So I think we have to kind of, understand, like, there's it's always tricky when it comes to these GOAT conversations. If you're talking about talent, you're talking about skill, Patrick Mahomes. But if you want to incorporate skill plus resume in the entire, conversation, then we got to look at Tom Brady. Because his longevity and his ability as a QB, and his ability to win and go. What solidified it for me was his win in Tampa. That was like, he's a GOAT, bro. That's LeBron. LeBron winning in Miami, Cleveland, and LA. That's the GOAT, bro. Again, same thing. He elevates his guys around him. So, this elevates Tom, Patrick Mahomes in the GOAT conversation. It elevates him. It elevates where he is, and that was an all-time great performance. Yes, a lot of it was Lamar Jackson not stepping up, but respectfully, those two aren't in the same room. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson as quarterbacks are not in the same stratosphere, bro. Not even in the same combo, and it's just arm talent. The running is cool. You want to account for that, but the arm talent, bro, we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? We can't ignore it. So we sit here and we give Patrick Mahomes his props. As difficult, as painful as it is, because I hate the guy, but we gotta give him his props for what he's doing. On the NFC side, the Lions choked away a win and a chance to go to their first Super Bowl. You had fans crying in the stands. I felt sick, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The last thing I wanted was a Chiefs San Fran Super Bowl. Like all this theory about it being predetermined and the colors of the Super Bowl logo meant that it was gonna be the Ravens, and setting up it's an all red. It's a bloody Super Bowl, and I did not want to see these teams play again. I'm sorry. Like, I really, really wanted to spend the next 2 weeks to hear a story about the Detroit Lions and what they're experiencing, man. Like, that town has the worst basketball team in the NBA. They have the worst baseball team in the MLB, and now they have to go through this, bro. That has to suck, man. I feel for these guys, bro. The big question though is, was Dan Campbell right for sitting here and being able to go for a fourth down? No. I think, as a pastor, one of the things you find in leadership is that there's certain times you must use intellect. Yeah, that whole, got guts, and I gotta stay true to who I am. As a leader, you have to tap into your intellect. Everything does not require a gut instinct and being true to who you are. It's all, you see, we often get in trouble in this analytical generation where these analytics does not factor in variables. The sheet could probably say, hey, you're supposed to go for it on fourth down here, or we always go for it on fourth down here, and 4th and 2 and 30-yard line and XYZ. But then the variable is, hey, my team is reeling. I need a score. Let me take the field goal. Right? If I score this field goal here, make it all I need was a touchdown to come back. I could save my timeouts. XYZ. These are the things that we find in using intellect. And again, to refer to my personal life. There is no manual for being a pastor. There is no book I can go to say this is what you have to do as a pastor and have guided me. Outside of the Bible and speaking to the Lord, I have no other guide in pastoring people. You get different books giving you advice as to what has worked for other people or what you should do. But because you're dealing with human beings, there's so many elements, so many variables that you can't account for in your formula, or you can't account for it before. So Dan Campbell, as much as I love the guy, man, and I like what he's doing and his passion and crying, and you sat here and, I'm not saying cost the team, but you put your team in a bad spot. Furthermore, I think possibly the biggest reason why these guys also were behind the 8 ball was about a minute ago. 3rd and goal. They sat there and ran the ball, which forced them to use a timeout. It was stupid. Yes, if you look at the play, this guy, Jameson Williams, missed a block. And you look at this and you look at that, and you saw that is 100% correct. But what I also saw was you have to use one of your 3 timeouts because the clock was running, as opposed to being able to kick the ball off and have all 3 of your timeouts and getting the ball back with about 45 seconds to go. So, and again, this is analytics, this is gut, but you cannot always rely on your gut for everything. Sometimes you have to sit and use intellect, use reason, use wisdom as a leader, right? You can't say, well, I always go for it. I don't care if it's game 1 or it's a Super Bowl. I'm going for it. Then that's stupid, because every situation is different. You may have gone for it 99 times, but this 100th time, it warrants for you to sit back and be like, yo, let's get some points. Let's calm everything down. Let's shorten this lead to make it easier for us going forward. He did, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at the crib watching the game. I was sick, bro, because I did not want to see a 49ers and Chiefs Super Bowl. I hate both of those teams, and I don't want to watch it, but I guess I have to. But also just for that city, for that fan base, they had a watch party at Ford Field. It was packed, and just to sit there and to be able to like watch your team have a complete meltdown and choke it away, it's tough, And San Fran had a lot of fortunate bounces. The Ayuk catch was a fortunate bounce, but I think outside of the bad coaching calls, I think the biggest play in that game was when right after that Ayuk touchdown, the next drive, first play, they fumbled the ball. I think that was, okay, dang, they're about to lose this game. When they fumbled that ball and I sort of look in their eyes, I'm like, yo, they're about to mess around and lose this game. And that's crazy, because San Fran was dead, nothing. And for them to lose that game was crazy, man. But hopefully, the Lions are a decent team. They have an opportunity. I think it's just so much riding with the NFL. Are these guys coming back? Can you keep this team together? This guy has his contract, and a lot of these things that we say, hey, they'll be back, but you don't know if they can come back, because we cannot forget that we have an emerging Jordan Love in the NFC North. Also, the Bears are going to get better, I believe, because towards the end of the year, the Bears beat the Lions, and they should have beat them twice. So that division is going to get tougher, and Kirk Cousins, who was out because of a torn Achilles, he'll be back, possibly in Minnesota. So it might not be an easy road for the Lions to get back to that Super Bowl. So especially a team that's just not used to winning. Like I text my boys in the group chat. It's like, yo, it's the Lions being the Lions. These certain teams just find ways to lose these games. And it sucks, man. It sucks selfishly because I wanted to see them in the Super Bowl, and not San Fran. But also, it's just for that city, for that fan base. It's a tough, like, and all these guys, like, even Jared Goff, man, he was always said, he was a product of Sean McVay. Not saying he's a top tier QB, but just to be able to lead another team to the Super Bowl would have been something dope. And unfortunately, that was taken away from him. And I was thinking last night, I was like, the Lions were 0-16 at one time in their career, in their franchise history. And I asked, is it worse to be 0-16, or is it worse to have a loss like this, like a half away from the Super Bowl? I think the latter is worse. I'd rather go 0-16. Yo, I'd rather go 0-16 than to sit here and be 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl and knowing I choked it away. Bro, nah, give me 0-16. Because team 0-16 could be a team of vibes, bro. You lose a game, by Monday you're over it, but you guys are having a good time. It's a vibe. This right here, no one talked in the locker room. There was no dancing, there was no vibes, there was no chatting. These guys were done with it. They were done after this game because they were so broken. They were crying. That plane ride was quiet. When they touched down back into Detroit, and the fans were probably waiting for them at the airport, tears. Got to see your missus and go back to your kids. Nah, I'll take 0-16. I'll take 0-16. Yo, hit me up. That's the question of the day. 0-16 or one half away from the Super Bowl. Which one would you take? I'm voting for 0-16 because 0-16 can still be a team of vibes, bro. You know what I mean? You're making history on the wrong side of history, but you're making history. You're having a good time. You know you suck. You know you're trash. You're just here having fun and enjoy the vibe. So I'll take the 0-16 over that because I'm not a Lions fan and I'm sick. I can only imagine what the Lions fans are feeling. You feel you let your city down, you let your family down, your owners down. You feel like you choked away. You're gonna be part of history as having a chance to win this game, but you choked it away. Nah, bro. Give me 0-16. Give me no expectations because when you're 0-16, you're not disappointed because you know you're trash. They're disappointed because they believed, A, coming into the game, they probably felt they could have won the game. B, especially after that first set, they're like, yo, this is gonna be calm. We're going, yo. They were in the locker room texting family, yo, how many of y'all coming to the game? How many of y'all coming to the Super Bowl? I need my ticket count right now so I can put it in before it's too late. They were chilling, and then to sit there and just like an avalanche was out here. So. On the other end, big ups to the Niners. Big up to my boy Sherwin, who's a true Niner fan. Big up to Zach, my other boy Jude, real Niners fan. Respect y'all. I pray that you guys enjoy this. I'm not gonna be rooting for you. I don't know who I want to win. I should be a good friend, right? And just like want my friends to win. Nah, I like chaos. I like them. I like to see if I can't win, you can't win. So. I'll figure it out. Nonetheless, on Niners side, unlike Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy has used this playoffs to establish him as a franchise QB. I can't believe I'm saying it, but he still has some questions because of the fact he needs ideal conditions because that Green Bay game when it was raining and he couldn't throw the ball, that was a bad look for him. But for him to come back and play so well, even like scramble and run the ball as well as he did and being calm and winning that, he's not elite, but I think you must pay him at the very least a franchise tag. He's better than Daniel Jones, tell you that, who got 4 years, 160. But yeah, he's shown that it's 2 years now. He's played at a very high level. You know, maybe he's a system QB, maybe, but so is Jalen Hurts, right? So is Jalen Hurts. He's up there. He can't deny his numbers. He can't deny the fact under pressure he was able to perform and calm his team down. And where does he rank? You know, that's a tricky part. Is he, you know, I don't put him up as tier 2. I can't put him ahead of guys like Jalen Hurts. He's not ahead of Lamar Jackson. He's not ahead of Dak. I mean, I think for you to be a top tier is to say, listen, I could trade you tomorrow, put you on the Giants, put you on the Commanders, and you'll make these same plays. If Brock Purdy was a free agent tomorrow, he's not getting big time money. He's not. So before we anoint him as one of the top QBs and call him being elite, he's not elite. He has, I mean, based on his performance and leading your team to one NFC Championship, and you got hurt, and then to the Super Bowl, and the best record in the NFC, gotta give that boy credit, bro. Gotta give that boy. He may not look the part, Mr. Relevant, blah, 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 but I think he's up there. He's levels, bro. He's levels, man, and they stepped up, man. That's the one guy. That's the one guy that, I mean, the defense stepped up in the second half, but I think a lot of it is Detroit choking and stop running, because they ran so well in the first half. They at one point they had the most in the first half. They had the most rushing yards that Shanahan has ever allowed in his playoff career. So he got all of that. So it was the running that got them up there. You know, Jared Goff's numbers weren't crazy. It was just they kept running the ball and found ways to stop, but they stopped running. That's what happened. They stopped running. They got shook. They choked. They literally choked. But the defense did what they had to do. Made a couple of stops. And then Brock Purdy just managed the game. Like, he was able to make some big time throws, avoid pressure, scramble when he had to scramble. So, you know, it sounds crazy, but we have to give that boy some respect, because what he's doing, what he did was nice, man. So, yeah, man. So it's San Fran. It's San Fran and the Chiefs in a Super Bowl, and we'll see what's next. We have a lot of time to dissect that, a lot of time to talk about that. But, you know, interesting conference championship weekend. You have two QBs, Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, that either solidified or raised their ranking in terms of QBs. And Patrick Mahomes is sitting here not even worried about present time. He's fighting all time. He's fighting legacy. And you got a QB in Lamar Jackson, man. And as much as I knew it was going to happen, I didn't have faith in him. It just sucks to see him go through that. You hate seeing a person fail, but he's not him, bro. This is why teams didn't want to spend all that money on him, because they know he was limited. That's all I'm saying, man. Tell me what you guys think. Hit me up on TikTok. Hit me up on Twitter. See what you guys think. Tell me how you guys feel. But thank you for listening. End of the day, thank you for tolerating me, because, you know, I love sharing my heart. I love sharing sports. There's two things I know about: Jesus and sports. Thank you for listening. God bless y'all. Love y'all, man. Peace.